everyone. This is Hannibal, and today I want to talk about the journeys in the Division 2. In this video, I would like to discuss my overall thoughts of the journeys within this game. So let's do it. The Division franchise has always stood out as an action role-playing, third-person looter-shooter MMO. It's part of what makes the game unique in the video game industry. It has never been just about firepower DPS. It's not Call of Duty or Battlefield. The game was never designed for an end-all, be-all weapons and gear setup. The game offers variety in your build setup simply because the game was designed for variety. You could use a simple yet effective DPS build, but you could also equally clear the area with skill builds or hybrid builds. The options seemed almost limitless on how you can approach whatever task you're about to work. And as the game allows, almost strongly suggests, you could gather up a four-man team and pile on the variety. For years, the Division franchise has built its content on the strong suggestion, co-op. Sure, anyone skilled enough in their game and gaming style with a strong enough build could literally solo every title in the franchise. But the game really encourages you to play the game with a team. Four-man slots for co-op, team member slots for incursions, raids, etc., and then there's the clan mechanic. So you have a choice. Go alone, or go together. However, recently the mechanics have started to change, and I'm referring to the new journey mechanic. Over the last 2 seasons, we've seen a noticeable shift, not just in theme or narrative, but in how the game expects you to play. And that shift has potentially raised serious questions about whether the Division 2 is forgetting what made it so compelling to begin with. Okay, let's rewind. When the Division 2 launched, it emphasized team coordination above all else. Roles were naturally defined, DPS, healers, tanks, etc. Missions were designed around these synergies, encouraging players to rely on each other. Matchmaking worked. Control points scaled with teams, not just map levels. Legendary missions weren't just difficult, they encouraged tactical communication and a tactical approach. You couldn't just swagger in alone and expect the same results from a challenging or heroic level map. If you went in solo, you were either winning for the challenge, or you were just looking for pain. That has been the Division experience. Gritty, team-focused, and mechanically satisfying. But since the launch of Seasons 2.0, we've seen a dramatic tonal and mechanical shift. But I would be remiss to mention that way before Seasons 2.0, there have been so much YouTube content where well-known content creators would showcase solo builds. I never really got down with this idea. Sure, let me run a few control points or bounties while I wait for friends and clan members to hop on, but the entire map? Yeah, no thanks. Many of the new Manhunt missions, now renamed Scout missions, global events, and even seasonal activities are not scaling appropriately for groups. In fact, they seem to punish cooperation in subtle ways. The journey is not something you really can do as a group. I am absolutely loving the microwave coils, and if I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind if they really stayed in the game permanently, but that's another video perhaps. Rewards like the coils should be rewarded in another way, in my opinion, such as part of a legendary mission rotation, or rewarded in a similar way to commendations, or even the specialization research. Since the microwave coils are attached to the observation drone, it would make so much more sense to have this rewarded as the research for the sniper specialization. That does make way more sense to me than the last level of a journey and the things that you had to do to get to the finish line. I have 2 accounts. This account is my content account. The other is my playtime account. The reason why I have 2 accounts is I used to work for Ubisoft. So I had one for work and I had one for play. So if I wanted the coils, I had to run the journeys twice. Now, most of you don't have 2 full-time accounts, and I have a unique perspective on this because if I wanted the coils on both accounts, I gotta grind twice. It gets old. Fast. And I'm an average player. I'm not popping spreadsheets for numbers. I'm not so popular on YouTube where my name is in a division book. I'm not running around in the game showcasing unicorn builds and having everything maxed out. And I'm not whipping through sniper bullets scoped like I'm on speed. I'm an average player, new to content creation. So until recently, I didn't have the time to be a full-time creator and play the division as a job. And I'm sure the same goes for most of you watching. And before anyone thinks today is the day to finally comment because I quote-unquote called out certain content creators in a bad way, I never said anything of the sort. I follow them. I watch their content. Been watching their content for build ideas, news, etc. Hell, they're one of the big reasons I started doing this myself. But they are way more skilled in the game than most, and they have way more time available to them to not only play the game, to pump resources, ad infinitum into their items, but they also have the advantage of having a YouTube channel way longer than I've had mine. Back to the journeys. They are specifically tailored for solo play. This is a complete 180 of one of the fundamental mechanics that made the division the division. Outside the journey, there's some subtle clues of the shift in the team-based dynamic. Spawns feel a little off balance when more than one person is in the session. Enemies tethered to objectives or out-of-sync progression markers break immersion and flow. The lack of true scaling in new content areas, such as Countdown or Descent, leaves co-op teams either bored or overwhelmed, not challenged in a fun way. And more troubling is how gear and builds introduced recently seem to be tailor-made for solo players and not team players. We're seeing buffs to self-sustain, solo armor regen, damage perks that activate when you're alone or isolated, not just by accident, but by design. It begs the question, why is a co-op game pushing solo behavior? Take Descent as a case study. It's a brilliant design, fast-paced, even arcade-like. But everything about it is solo-centric, from build crafting to room progression. There's no synergy required between players, no squad meta, no healing or support advantage. It's bare bones to start, like level 1, and the random choices of gear, weapon skills, rotation is just lacking. Compare that to Countdown, which was launched with high expectations for team dynamics, but quickly devolved into rush meta strategies that discourage team formation and prioritizing speed over tactics. I lay a lot of ire at the timer. 15 minutes. Okay, I get it. But at the same time, once you figure out the mechanics in Countdown, it gets boring. Fast. We've gone from cover-to-cover comms to see you at the extract. The recent seasons have introduced more content than ever, but with less cohesion. Seasonal manhunts, scout missions, feel tacked on. Narrative is thin. And most importantly, co-op play is no longer required, nor rewarded. Where's the incentive to play with others? Scaling punishes difficulty instead of encouraging coordination? Mission spawns enemies too far apart for team coverage? Everyone's just chasing solo objectives. Even the latest Easter egg hunt drops for you, not the team. So it pretty much suggests that if you want to get 100 Easter eggs the quickest way possible, well, you should probably run it solo. Even legendary strongholds, once the pinnacle of co-op challenge, are being skipped in favor of soloable missions with better efficiency. If not skipped, well, there's plenty of legendary solo builds out there to choose from. And for a while, there's so many videos out there for solo Dark Zone builds. That, in my opinion, should be a gimmick build. A novelty to show off to your friends and other players for a hot minute. I don't have any need to dominate a map against a server. I don't have anything to prove, real or imaginary, to anyone real or imaginary, that suggests that I need to solo up in the Dark Zone and own people. I leave that to the 12-year-olds. And with content spread thin across multiple systems, Kenley College rotations, summit floors, weekly seasonal challenges, there's a growing disconnect between players. We used to log in together. Now we're just playing near each other. Matchmaking and clan invites to players even has its challenges. Outside Countdown, where it won't allow the leader to start until there's 8 players, you're not really seeing a lot of players matchmaking unless it's too difficult to run solo. You're asking others to join to help you get through the content, and that's it. You're not requesting backup to just play with others. If I'm being honest, this isn't just nostalgia talking. When a game's mechanics, gear perks, mission design, scaling logic start undermining its core identity, something's broken. The Division 2 wasn't designed to be a solo experience. The entire UI, the combat pacing, and even the specializations were tailored to co-op synergy, but recent seasons are pushing players towards isolation. That shift risks hollowing out what made the game special. But it's not too late, but we need to see better co-op scaling across new content. In a previous video, I provided thoughts on the upcoming DLC Battle for Brooklyn. The DLC suggests it will require team play, so I hope this is an attempt to get back on track for what makes this game great, even with its many flaws. Team synergy perks and skills should be reintroduced, seasonal goals that require coordination should be put in place, and maybe most importantly, a reason to squad up again. For so many of us, we didn't fall in love with the Division because it made us feel like lone saviors. We fell in love with it because it made us play it with others. If the next seasons want to bring the players together, the devs need to bring the co-op soul back. Because the Division 2 doesn't need to reinvent itself, it just needs to remember who it was built for. As always, I am grateful for you for watching my videos. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, especially if you enjoy content from an average gamer who simply just enjoys playing the game. Please drop a comment. Share your thoughts with me about this video, what you think about solo versus team play. Help me start a conversation. Until next time, this is Hannibal, signing off.